Hello everyone, Eric Padden once again, and first of all let me just thank you for taking some of your valuable time to take a look at this video. Now in this video we're going to be discussing the physical silver shortage that's starting to show up around the world. And I'm not talking about, phantom silver. I'm not saying you can't get out there and buy silver. You can buy millions of ounces of it if you'd like, as long as you're willing to accept paper, okay, that says there's silver somewhere being stored for you. There's plenty of that phantom silver, as I call it, available out there. But if you want actual physical silver, okay, real silver that you can hold on to, that you possess, that you know is there when you need it, that's getting a little bit harder to find. So let's talk about some of the different factors out there that are driving up the price of silver. And as I make this video today, we're talking about, what was it, 42.30 something, as I just checked a little bit earlier today. And so that's a new 31-year high. And I believe that silver, you're going to see it at 50. I'm going to keep buying myself and putting it away until it's over, right around $100. I've already got quite a bit, and I'm going to keep building as fast as I can get my paper money. I convert it over to silver. But I'm figuring until about $100 it's going to be an absolute bargain. And then after that I'm going to be a holding pattern. And I believe you're going to see silver continue to close the gap to, right now we're still about 38 to 1 as far as it takes 38 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. Historically that's been around a 10, 12 to 1 ratio. And I think it's going to go and get back to that. And eventually I do believe one day, just like palladium used to be worth more than platinum, I do believe one day you're going to see silver is going to be worth more than gold, simply because it's more rare. I know you don't think that, but let's look at the facts. Right now, we actually have less silver above ground, far less than gold, believe it or not. And you have to appreciate what's going on in the world right now industrially with silver. It's being used up faster than it's being mined. Matter of fact, every year since 1991, we've been using more silver than we've been pulling out of the earth. And look at 1950. 1950, we had 10 billion ounces of silver above ground. Nice little surplus there, and only about a billion ounces of gold at that time. Now, since 1950, because gold's been hoarded away and it's been more valuable, so that encourages more mining, you're going to find today we have 7 billion ounces of gold above ground. And yet we have around a billion ounces, some estimates as low as 600 million ounces of actual physical silver. And so think about that for a moment. How could it possibly be that we've got less than a billion ounces of silver, over 7 billion ounces of gold, and yet it's so flip-flopped, it actually takes 38 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold? Just doesn't make any sense, does it? It should be the reverse, because right now silver is actually more rare than gold, plus it's being used up. So what could influence the value of silver to where it's so out of whack like that? Well, a lot of you probably heard the rumors of the manipulation in the precious metals market, and more specifically in silver. And I think I've got some facts that you might want to consider. More and more people now are aware that the CFTC hearings recently exposed under oath when Jeffrey Christian, a former Goldman Sachs employee, said, yes, we do trade gold and silver like other financial instruments. It's just like T-bills and treasury bonds and currencies. And that when we trade it, we trade in 100 times the underlying physical. And so in other words, they're trading 99 ounces for every 1 ounce of real physical silver that exists out there. And so that opened up a lot of people's eyes. And since then, you've seen silver kind of break away, and it's creeping up and trying to bridge that gap. It wasn't too long ago, it was 70 to 1, and then 60 to 1, 50 to 1, and 40 to 1. Right now, about 38 to 1. I believe it's going to get back to that 12, 10 to 1 ratio, historically, that it's been for over the last 5,000 years. And I think after that, you're going to see it one day become worth more than gold, because it's being used up in more and more uses all the time. Let's assume that the generate estimate of a billion ounces of above ground silver is accurate. Well, we already know that the major holders of bullion, like the Sprott Physical Silver Trust, these big holders are holding about, say, 500 million ounces. Okay, so if there really is a billion ounces out there, that's only going to leave another 500 million ounces for the rest of the world. And that includes industrial use, includes investor use. Both of those are increasing dramatically. Now, the short positions, there's, say, the top 10 traders out there hold short positions on silver, and this means that they don't actually own it, they don't hold it in their hands right now, but through their short, naked short contracts, they have the control of it. And what's happening right now is there's about 330 million ounces of silver that is shorted, and I like the fact that these, traders, so to speak, that have been kind of flooding the markets with their phantom silver and gold in order to keep the prices down. They've been doing this for years, and so a lot of investors have gotten gun shy about investing in silver and gold because every time they did, they'd lose their shorts because they would manipulate the markets by flooding it with, hundreds of millions of ounces of these phantom metals. Well, now that it's been exposed, it's breaking away now, and I think it's awesome that they still have these short positions, and one day soon they're going to have to cover. And it's not at the $12 it was 2 years ago, 20-something dollars it was, just last year. We're talking 42 and going up. And so when they have to cover those 330 million ounces they're short, we're talking major losses. I think it's great they're going to get a little bit of their own medicine for a change. I don't think it's great that we might end up bailing them out on the back end. That's a whole nother subject, but the Fed is there to bail these banks out. That's basically why the Fed was brought into existence by JP Morgan and Rockefeller and the boys. Actually, if you look back, I think it was more back in 1913 at the Rockefeller estate on Jekyll Island. Well, actually, they had the meeting in 1910, and the Fed was created in 1913, and that was the real purpose, to bail out the banks so they could take these, big risks, big gambles, and it must be nice to know that if you gamble, if you lose, you're going to be bailed out. That's the only thing I worry about with these banks. I think JP Morgan is kind of the Fed's bank, and I think if we do end up having to bail them out, that'll be taxpayer money. Anyway, whole different subject, whole different video. But let's look at that for a moment. If you take out of that 500 million ounces that's available, if we're generous, that 330 that these traders eventually do have to cover their position on, that only leaves about 170 million for the rest of the world. Now think about that. We're using a heck of a lot more than that industrially each and every year, and we're not mining enough. And so there simply is not enough silver out there. The Chinese market alone is using up more than that. Think about it. Just in 2009, Chinese was exporting 100 million ounces of silver to the market. 2010, that switched. They saw us printing dollars like they're going out of style, and they're starting to put silver away now. They went from exporting 100 million ounces to now they're a net importer of 150 million ounces in 2010. Now that means that's 250 million is what I meant to say, 250 million ounces that's no longer available to the market because it's being hoarded away in China by the citizens and the government. Matter of fact, the government over there is encouraging their citizens to buy physical silver as the antidote to the falling dollar. I never thought I'd live to see the day that the Chinese government is being more honest about the economy and the coming hyperinflation as a result of all these fiat currencies around the world being printed like they're going out of style. I never thought I'd see the day when the Chinese government would be more honest with their people to get prepared than the American government is with theirs. But we're living it right now, people. And so the bottom line is, all these factors are combining the physical, basic supply and demand factors, along with the fact that more and more people now are thinking there's something to the conspiracy theory of the precious metals manipulation. Matter of fact, consider this for a moment. If you were to buy silver, if you wanted to go buy in the ETF, SLV right now is worth 16% less than the Sprott Physical Silver Trust is. Now that's very interesting, isn't it? They both have one holding, and it's silver. And so if they're both holding exactly the same thing, silver, how could it be that one of them is 16% higher than the other? It just doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, if you read the fine print, the Sprott Physical Silver Trust guarantees you that they have actual physical silver. However, if you read the fine print on the JP Morgan Chase-backed ETF, they have in their fine print a little clause where if physical silver is undeliverable, they can give you the equivalent in cash, paper, dollars, which most people believe are on their way to being worthless. Look at the history. When the Federal Reserve was introduced in 1913, the dollar actually bought something back then. It's become worth less, and it's on the verge of being worthless, just like every other debt-based currency ever created. Think about that for a moment. We've lost in 98 years since the Federal Reserve was created, we've lost 98% of our purchasing power, about 1% a year. If that 98-year trend was to continue for 2 more years, late 2012, the dollar is absolutely worthless. And so the smart money is getting into precious metals. And I'm encouraging everybody, my friends, my family, anyone that'll listen on my videos, I want to educate Americans and anyone around the world actually, that you need to get yourself into gold and silver. I just believe because of the factors I just described, silver has a lot more of an upside. Now, bottom line, you also need to store some food away. And in my opinion, you're going to need some guns and ammo to protect your food from the people that didn't take it seriously. There's too many Americans nowadays that have got their heads buried in, anything from soap operas or some sort of television reality shows or whatever to, the internet, and I'm not talking educating themselves like you and I are. You know what they're doing, and that's unfortunate because they're not prepared for what's coming. They all think they're just going to be able to gas up or go to the store and there's going to be food on the shelves. Even if there is food on the shelves, they won't be able to afford it because the dollars are going to become worthless. And so you need to prepare yourself. Put at least 3 to 6 months worth of food away. That way you don't have to spend your dollars, which are depreciating rapidly, more rapidly than ever before. Or if you're smart enough to put your silver and gold away, you don't have to spend that right away. You want that to be your reserve. My plan is to hold on to that. Hopefully my 6-month food store will get me out the other side of this mess. But if it doesn't, I'm going to have silver to barter with. More importantly, when the one world currency, which most people believe is inevitable, and that's been the plan all along. You've seen it go from, oh no, all these European countries would never have one currency. Well, there's the euro, okay? You might have heard rumors of the Amiro, but now they've decided to leapfrog and just go straight to the one world currency. And so they're in the process of creating financial chaos all around the world right now, and they're doing it very successfully. And that's what they do. They divide and conquer, and then they go in and have a solution for the problems that they themselves create. And so they're creating a crashing of the different fiat currencies around the world. And unfortunately, a lot of innocent people that have done things right their whole lives, worked hard, paid off their house, they've got 1 or 2 properties with no mortgage, they've got, millions of dollars in their 401ks or what have you. My son, who has now collected 12 of these, just doing his little, chores and washing cars and stuff, he's got 12 of these now. And at first he was saving for a bike. Once he got that, he said, no, Dad, I want to keep saving for a car. Okay, he's 11 years old, and he's got 12 of these put away. He's going to be in better shape coming out the end of this mess on the other side than people that are sitting with $1 million or 2 in paper right now that they think is going to be worth something. Because at least with that, he can buy some food. When the Zimbabwe dollar became worthless last year, you saw people that were very wealthy got completely wiped out. Okay, everybody became trillionaires last year in Zimbabwe. The only problem was it didn't buy you a loaf of bread. In Germany, okay, what happened then in the 20s when hyperinflation hit? Everybody was trillionaires, but wheelbarrows of money could not get you a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk. People were completely wiped out. They were better off putting that paper money in the fireplace to stay warm in the winter because it was cheaper than buying wood to just burn the paper, because the paper had become so worthless. And so if you watch history, you're going to find every single debt-based fiat currency ever created has always crashed, 3,800 of them without fail. So you need to prepare. I will help you get set up, and you can buy your gold, platinum, palladium, my favorite, silver, at wholesale rates. So feel free to give me a call, 858-705-2487. Eric Padden. You can also get on ericpadden.com and educate yourself there with some of the different videos and articles that I have. You can also click on there and learn how to buy your bullion at wholesale. And if you're interested in an opportunity by helping other people prepare, you can also make a residual income through my ISN coins business. And so a lot of exciting things that I'd like to share with you. Feel free to jump on my blog at ericpadden.com. That's E-R-I-C. Padden is P as in Paul, A-double-D as in David, E-N. That's ericpadden.com. And once again, you can give me a call at 858-705-2487. Don't put it off, all right? Take action while you're thinking about it. Because if you don't take action to secure your purchasing power for your family, who will? I guarantee you no one else is going to do it for you. Remember what Benjamin Franklin said, procrastination is the thief of all opportunity. So don't put it off. Take action. Give me a call today. We'll discuss your situation and at least get the ball rolling. Whether you just want to have some shipped out on auto ship each month and build a collection slow but steady, or whether you want to take money you've already got, paper. I'm recommending people borrow against their 401k. You'll be much better off putting it into silver. Call me up. We'll discuss it. Once again, Eric Padden, 858-705-2487. It's important that you take action. You don't want to be one of those people that waited until it was too late. Once again, thanks for your time. Hope to catch up with you on the next video.